Hello, listeners. This is Rick here from Tips and Ratings. I just thought we'd have a look at the Geelong meeting today and go over all of the races and our raw prices. Just sort of not sure how the track will play there today. So what we're doing is we're just sending out our raw prices to the members, and we'll make some final adjustments once we sort of know what range the track's in and how it's sort of playing. On race one, our top rater here is Rudiger. Here's a horse we had quite short last week in a race, and he was a late scratching. Tops the class and speed for us. Tops the jockey, second jockey, and tops the trainer. He's going very well, and I think that he will be very hard to beat here. They went up at a decent price early, and he's been pretty heavily backed. So I think that everything sort of bodes well that this horse is going to be very hard to beat. So he looks to stand out in race one. In race two, we've got a couple of debut runners. One is Smurden and Zara. So just need to keep an eye on that if you're betting. And obviously the other one's from the lambing yard with Hall on board. So yeah, if you bet there, just monitor. Of the raced runners, look, I thought R was fair last start, chasing Rye. Was a decent sort of run without setting the world on fire. And I thought He's a Goer was pretty good on debut in Adelaide. He got back and was looking for runs and did quite well, I thought. Oliver rides. He's not in the best of form at the moment, Oliver, but I think that Adelaide horse, He's a Goer, can run well. So top raters there are He's a Goer, and keep an eye on the debut runners. On to the next race, race three. Good little race, this one. We've got Go Genio, who gets the blinkers for the first time. It rated pretty well, chasing on a leaders track at Sandown earlier this month, and it was a pretty good effort. It was hard for any horse to really make ground, and despite the fact it did settle not far off the lead, it was still a difficult assignment. I think the horse is ready to really go quite well. It was only beaten a couple of lengths or thereabouts in the 1,000 guineas, which wasn't the strongest race, but still it's a pretty good form reference for a race like this. We've got Avanti that resumes, can run quite well fresh. I thought its run fresh was good last prep, producing high class figures, and it's certainly coming from an informed stable there of the Freedmans. And testability, look, it was pretty impressive on debut. It ended up buried back on the fence, and I guess got a bit of luck with the heavens opening, but it was still good enough to take those runs and certainly let down hard late and pull away for a big win. So always a little bit tricky to assess these horses when they resume, because we don't know how much upside they've got. So we'll probably play a pretty tight hand here, depending on what way we go. But in that race, I think that Go Genio is the one to beat, probably from Avanti and testability. It's probably not a lot between those three, and they're the only runners we've really got rated under $10. On to race four, and Zoletto is up again here. Look, this horse likes to sting out of the track. I think that it can carry weight. It's running quite well. It's the top of the class, top of the speed, number 2 jockey, number 1 trainer. So there's a lot of things, that tick the boxes for that horse today. The little query is there is certainly some talent in the race from some other horses, and especially a couple that resume that look like they might run okay in Alaska and Sung Shui Bao. And I thought Gold Offer was really good against the older horses. He had a really big class figure, and just not sure he's a horse that would appreciate the soft ground. I don't want to overthink it too much, but if the track's racing towards the drier side, I think that would certainly be favourable for this horse. But look, Zoletto, it's sort of hard to knock him. He does have the weight against him, but he's just such a good sprinter, and when he's right, and obviously, as you can see, his speed rating is 8 points clear of the next best, which is significant on my scale here. So he's just the fastest, best horse. So I don't think the weight will stop him if he gets the right run. On to race 5, and look, this is a tough race. I think that the key form reference here is the Sandown race. I thought Blendwell really hit the line well on that occasion. It hit the line really hard against the bias that day, and that was a really good run. I can easily just edit the bonus and get it into $3.60, call it, and have absolutely no worries with that. I think this horse looks really well placed, and if the track's playing, well, I think it's going to be really hard to beat. If it's leaderish, then it might have a problem. That's why we'll sort of hold off. First Print ran really well last start and came through the same race as Blendwell, and Blendwell was just a fair bit better. So I haven't really got much between them, but once we do the final adjustments for weight and whatnot, certainly Blendwell will come in a bit shorter than First Print. And we've got a Mirror resuming who looks handy, and we've got a couple of other ones. Zakala resumes. Certainly no problem on the wet with that horse. And I need to have a look at Cocklebiddy also, who won really well last start. But the figures were just fair, so I sort of need to have a look at that horse. But certainly I think on an even track here, Blendwell's the one to beat. On to the next race, and really big field here. Look, Charmed Harmony's a real goer, this horse. He always puts in, he gets himself up on the speed. As you can see, he's drawn 1 here, so it all sort of bodes well that this horse is going to perform really well. I thought that he was excellent last start at Sandown. They did get a big break on the field, and when that does happen, the margin isn't always probably as much or as big as it really should be. They can just get a jump on the field, and especially the fact that it was playing towards the leaders. So, we do need to pay particular attention to some other horses that came through that particular race, and that they're horses that we've got down the bottom here, like By the Grace, Bell Seal. They both come through that race, and if memory serves me correctly, Orion does also. Yeah, so look, all those horses, they were well beaten, but just the way the race shaped up, I don't really think we can be too critical of them. They all produced pretty good late sectionals, and I think that they're going to run quite well, especially if the track does favour the run-on horses. And also the fact that they are carrying considerable less weight, and in the case of By the Grace, his equal ability to Charmed Harmony on our exposed speed figures. So when you've got a horse that's basically has equal ability class-wise, equal ability speed-wise, and carries 6.5 kilos less, that's when weight is significant in our book here, and I think that should they be running on here, then certainly By the Grace looks a really good chance. If they're not running on and they're favouring the on paces, then certainly Charmed Harmony is going to be very hard to get past. Need to have a look at Paddy's Gem here, who's got form through the bowler, just to make sure we're right there. The figures just don't really come out too strong. And just another one to mention, I thought Cerberus really hit the line well last start. He's one that will get back and run on. And Bell Rhythm's racing really well, but I'm not sure he would really want it too wet. So we just another one of the races today where we just, are they going to lead? Are they going to go back today? Are they going to be running on today? So really, it's going to have a pretty big effect on the way we play this race. On the race 7, and another good race. Look, the ratings sort of narrow it down to a couple of chances here on the raw figures, and that's Habitual Offender, and the other one's Rich River. Look, I think that Rich River's going really well. He hasn't won for a while, but I think he's genuine. He just continues to sort of find one better. I thought he was really good at Sandown last start. Excuse me. He sort of camped midfield on a strong tempo, and was just overrun by a horse that in Clairvaux that really hit the line well, and was just too strong out in the middle of the track. He did beat Second Bullet by 2.5 lengths on that occasion, and that horse has come out and won well at Flemington. So, there's a bit to like about the race, and I don't think the drop back to 1,700 is a negative. He maps well, and I think he'll get his chance. Certainly, this is a rating 70, and we've sort of got this horse pegged as running up, between 78 and 80 a couple of times. So, he's certainly a very winnable grade for this horse. Habitual Offender, look, he's a horse that probably doesn't want it too wet. He does have a win on the soft, but he also has a couple of epic failures. So we just sort of play it by ear with this horse. I thought he was really good last start behind Telapia. He was good before that, I thought, at Bendigo. Just, sort of didn't really ever look a winning hope, but the figures he produced were pretty solid, and he obviously showed good improvement in that run behind Telopia. And, he's the other horse that, has pretty strong exposed class figures. So we've got him up around 77, and he's obviously going to probably improve off what he did last start. And if he can do that and get a good run and handle the track, then he's going to be really hard to beat. So I think if the track's favourable for him, he's certainly the big value runner here. And look, Shintaro's another horse that he's got a really strong speed rating, around 119. He's not sort of there on exposed class for us yet, but he's a horse that generally, when they're the best speed and the class hasn't sort of caught up, we're generally happy to say give them a length or two, and it sort of tightens them into probably where they probably should be. So if we sort of give it a length, it gets in the weight dollars. It's about 7 at the moment. Flying Aurora is another one that is racing quite well. But I think that Habitual Offender and Rich River are the two they need to beat. And then on to the last race. Look, Society Man's pretty hard in the market, which sort of suggests that the horse is expected to run, I guess, back to his normal pattern after a failure last prep. And if he does that, we can sort of call him a 79 and a 105. Sorry, a 110. And that sort of gets him back in there and tightens him up there into about $6.50, $7. Smackdown, he resumes. I thought that he ran really well last campaign. He had a couple of really strong ratings in much better grade than this when he was fresh. And he's going to run quite well if he could sort of repeat any of those figures. Very, very strong figures. And, if we had horses like, he's beaten 0.2 lengths by Zamora and Fab Favola, beaten 1.9 lengths by Tiger Tease. That's pretty strong form for a race like this. So I think that he's certainly a horse that appears to be good value. Villapoto is a horse that he's going really well. He has been able to return in excellent fashion, and they're just taking him through the grades. And I've sort of got him at the moment pegged is about an 85 rater on what he's done, and he's in a 78. Here about 1.5 kilos over the minimum, so it all sort of bodes well for this horse. And if they can lead and it's not too wet, he looks a really nice bet. So I think that Villapoto is probably the one to beat there, everything being equal. From Society Man and SmackDown, Pravinder's around the mark also. So they're our raw ratings for today. As I said, they will change. Some not much, some significantly. It's all going to depend on how the track plays and whether they're leading or getting home down the middle. Obviously, Melbourne racing's been heavily affected recently by horrendous bias. So this is just a measure we're taking to not get caught with our pants down, which is what has happened, unfortunately, on a couple of occasions recently, in particularly Saturday at Flemington. So thanks for listening. All the best. And if you've got any questions, feel free to just shoot us an email. Thank you.